Hey everyone, welcome. This is episode 18, season 3 of Warikoo Wednesdays, and I hope you're all gearing up for a lovely year end with Christmas and New Year's coming in. It's like this nice happy time. Delhi has got insanely cold, and I hope wherever you are, it's not as bitter as it is here, but I enjoy the winter, so can't complain. Today I want to talk about something that one of you wrote in about, and this was an email that came in from an admirer, and he said, there are two choices to live life, and I want to know what your view is. And the two choices are, one, be proactive in life and take charge of how or why or what is it that you want to do in life. Or two is be flexible and let life happen to you. Just be free, be able to mold yourself, and then just see where life takes you. And it's not an easy choice to make, because clearly there are massive pros and cons. And I want to tell you how I have thought about the way I've lived life, how it was very different from what I used to. But early on when I was growing, it was very clear to me that the proactive side and the choice is the right one, where you take charge of your life. There is this concept of free will. There's the concept of you exercising your will and your power and the will to do things as against destiny, which is something that seems like out of your control, that may happen to you, may not happen to you, and you have no choice. And that was who I was. That was my ideology, that was my worldview. And only when I came back from the US after dropping out of my PhD, where I clearly saw that the plan that I had for my life was laughed at. Life in some way showed me the middle finger and punched me in my face, saying that you think you have a plan, but I have a plan for you, which you have no idea about. And now I want to see what you do with the plan. And it was very clear that the choices in front of me were come up with another plan, which was again going back to the proactive self and the one taking charge. Or two, just think about, what is it to live life without a plan? Can you actually live life without a plan? Can you live life without a plan, with no goal, with no step or stage that you want to hit? And that sounds crazy. That sounds almost non-ambitious. That sounds like a lousy way of living life. But what if you couple that with a very clear proactive definition of your operating system? What is it that you do consistently on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, but you don't care about where it takes you? What are those habits that you commit yourself to without caring where it takes you? And today I stand here as a perfect example of being serendipitously and beautifully amazed at what life had to offer, when I had no ambition, no goal, no plan to make it so. I have lived life for the last 15 years without a plan, with almost what I would call no ambition, in the sense of where I want to be, how much I want to be at, or what is it that I want to do, and instead just committed to how I do things, why do I do it, and not care about where it takes me or what it is. And that is the self that I find more joy in. It's a self which is harder to get to because it's almost against the socially desirable answers. Society wants you to be very particular and disciplined about where you get in life. 25 married, 30 house, 35 this, 40 this, so on and so forth. It has this checklist, age defined. And to fight that takes a very different moral courage. To fight that takes a very different level of conviction. To fight that takes a very different DNA. But if you get to that point, I think you'll be surprised and amazed, and surprised beautifully so, at what life has to offer. Only if you proactively commit to doing things and doing it in a disciplined manner. It could be meeting a new person every day. It could be reading a book every week. It could be writing every day. It could be singing. It could be whatever is it that you want to and commit to doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And then you just leave life as it is and just see where it gets to, where it gets you. And I'm always reminded of this fascinating interview of Bruce Lee once, where he said, be like water. Be like water. Because the best thing about water is always water. Its properties, its chemical composition does not change, but it takes the shape of whatever it is in. Water can become a cup, It can become a bucket, it can become a jug, it can become a glass, and it's still water. And if you would think of life and your own life like water, where you can be whosoever you are with, whatever you are in, and yet you retain the properties of who you truly are, that I think is the magical life. I think I'm on that. And I stand here as a perfect example of someone who was very different and now is trying to attempt a very different side and seemingly enjoying it. Until next week, I'll see you all. Bye.